Hi everybody, I'm working on this video. I really hope it works the way I'm hoping it'll work. I'm not real good at editing. This was the only way I could do it, and I'm sorry if it's a little choppy. It's the very first time I've ever done it, so please bear with me. The talk that I was given by Jerry Jones was a talk by a circuit overseer who was talking to the people about depression and the mental illness that's going on, that exists, I should say, inside the congregations and the organization itself. He is saying in the talk how it should be handled, and he even says that the society says to do it this way. But in the publications and the magazines, it tells them to do it one way, but Watchtower is telling the elders to do it a different way. You'll see that come out as we go along through this. The first part here, an elder is wanting to die. These are supposed to be the happiest people on the earth, and the ones living the best life ever. The ones that have such smiles on their face and dress really nice out in public and everything, and people say, oh, they're such nice people. Yeah, well, they have problems just like everybody else, but the way that it's handled on the inside of the organization is the problem. But there are reasons that they feel like this, and we'll explain it as we go on here farther. Now, I am reading from some notes that I have that will go along with the clips that I'm inserting into my video. So, you know, the narration, I have to go along with this. But, like I say, he's talking about depression. This elder comes up to him and says that he wants to die.
Much more abbreviated. The next day, the elder came to me and he said, what can you do when you get the blues? I says, well, you know, what do you mean by the blues? He says, well, I've been thinking of killing myself. Well, that's not the blues. And he was a spiritual man, a man who cared about others. He had teenage children, a wife, a position in the congregation. But he wanted to die because of the pain that he was under. And that's what I'm talking about. Thus, many of us have these problems. For instance, we still have people saying, if you were to go to a certain person and say, I'm just so low, I feel awful, I can't snap out of this, I can't seem to do any better. And they would say, well, you know, if you studied more and you prayed more, you would get better. And the society says in their literature that that isn't the right thing to say, because I know from my own personal experience that when you're real depressed, you'd love to read and feel better, but it's hard to concentrate and to focus. There was a sister in Vermont who had been an incest victim, and she had repressed the memory until she was about 35. When it came back, it flooded in on her. She attempted suicide. She had already shown the signs up to that point of an abused person. But I remember talking to her, you know, what could help her. She says, I can't even read a paragraph in the Watchtower magazine. And she used to be a pioneer until this came back to her. And so I suggested maybe she tried to listen to the Watchtower. And that's what we need to understand. We're not talking about a spiritual illness. We're talking about a medical problem. And if you can just picture that, try to picture that in your mind without rendering judgments. But she'd loved it, read, underlined it, commented. She couldn't do it anymore. She was a sick person. And if you can just picture that, try to picture that in your mind without rendering judgments, then it gets a lot easier. Because, see, let's say we got somebody who has diabetes. Now, and we don't need a microphone. What's the medication you take for diabetes? Anybody know that? Sister right there. Okay, you take insulin. At the outset, you may take tablets, eventually injections for it. Now, if somebody came to you and said, boy, what the doctor found out I had insulin, that's why my mouth was dry, and that's why I was having these dizzy spells, you wouldn't say, you know what I'd do? I'd pray more, you know. Because that insulin stuff, that's a bad news, you know. That's preposterous. You'd never say that.
Study more and pray more, you'll get better. It's the elder cure-all. You know, they tell that to everybody. Study more and pray more, and your husband won't beat you. You got to be more submissive. You know, a woman goes to the elders and says, my husband's beating me, and all he can do is say, she needs to be a better person. She should study more. She should pray more, and her husband won't beat her. But, you know, they're not going to go talk to the husband. You're not supposed to beat your wife. No. They're going to tell the woman, pray more and study more, and things will get better. He even says that the society says not to do it that way. But I've heard people that were being told that over and over again. The people that come out of the organization were told that they need to pray more and study more. You can see that in videos that people put up where elders, you know, they're having a discussion with the elders, and the elders always say that. You remember that one instruction video that they had up that somebody posted? It was for a Watchtower instruction video to the elders, where they had that woman that was recently widowed, and she was really depressed and suicidal, and they had gone over to her house to encourage her, they said. Well, not once did they even suggest her going to therapy. They actually told her to read Job and pray more. And they didn't do anything other than that. They read a scripture, they said a prayer, and they didn't even focus on what her problem was. They didn't dig into it, what was going on or anything. She's serving him coffee, and she's telling him she's so depressed she wants to die. And they tell her, well, you know, we can pray, and you need to sit down and read the book of Job. You know, there was a woman in this video that we're playing here. She said she was so depressed that she couldn't even read the Bible. She couldn't pay attention. So what did he do? He suggested that she listen to the Bible on a CD instead of reading it. Nowhere do the elders in any of these circumstances ever say, go out and get counseling, or go to a doctor. You know, if you... Boy. Now, pay attention as we go through this, how the circuit overseer says that things should be done versus how you and I know that things are actually done. Okay? Oh yeah, and his words, it's preposterous, yet elders are being shown videos of saying that to a woman that's suicidal. He says the society says it's not the right thing to do, but elders' instruction videos from Watchtower are teaching the elders to say to a suicidal widow to read Job and pray more. People, you have to realize that if you are thinking of suicide, contemplating suicide, you need to call the suicide hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. If you Google it, they have a little thing that comes up, a chat line. You can chat. You don't even have to call them on the phone. You can chat 24/7. And they will direct you where to go and what to do. And they will help you. That's what they're there for, 24/7. Please make use of that. When I was raped at 15 and my parents didn't allow me to get any counseling or anything, I snuck one day and called a rape crisis hotline to talk to them because nobody would help me. So if you're thinking of suicide, you call them. They will help you.
And so, unless someone here is a doctor and deals with this, and none of us are in a position to treat those illnesses any more than we're in a position to treat diabetes. So if you were to tell someone that they shouldn't take insulin anymore, what do you think may happen to them? Anybody? For the cook? Yeah, there's a very good chance they will die. If you tell somebody to quit taking antidepressants, what may happen to them? What do you think, Brother Del Rey? They may die. And all the time I talk to people and they say, I have chemical depression. And I said, are you on medication? I'm not a doctor, so I just want to know. I want to know how they're doing. Are you on medication? And sometimes they say, well, I was, but I'm trying to get off of it. Like, again, do you want to get off insulin? And it really worries me when people say that, because medication may be correcting their problem. So I try to figure out, why is it you don't want to take your medication? You know why it is? Their perception of illness. That if I take this means I really do have this mental problem, that I'm weak, that I'm bad, that I'm not spiritual. And sometimes we do that to people. We do that to people. I have people tell me, I think that medicine's really messing them up. And I want to see their PhD.
If you go to the doctor and they give you medication to deal with your depression and stuff, you go home, you take it for a few days, you find out that it's really not making you feel any better, or that it might be making you worse. You get on the phone and you call that doctor's office back and you tell them, he gave me these antidepressants because I feel suicidal, and they're not helping, or they're making things worse, and they will help you right away. They will help you right away. Nobody wants to see anybody do themselves in. It's not the answer. Like I said before, you are valuable. The things that you're going through will help other people. Stick with it. Yes, you can pray and you can talk to God, but go to the doctor also and take care of yourself. If you need antidepressants, take them. Some of them don't always work for some people. Sometimes because of our body chemistry, we have to take something different than our friend would take. It doesn't have to be what they take. It could be something else that works for you. But they can adjust the level. They can give you a different kind of medicine. They can do all kinds of things to help you. Stick with it and things will get better. These elders are not doctors, and I wonder if he will even say that the elders should send them to counseling. He did mention that. Now, I also want to mention getting out of the organization is really hard to explain to somebody that doesn't understand cults. But Freedom of Mind Resource Center, that's run by Stephen Hassan, their phone number is 617-628-8153. And they deal with people coming out of the Watchtower organization cult. And they will talk to you. I'm sure they can recommend somebody for you to talk to in your part of the country or wherever you're from. But look for the help. It is there. There are people really willing to help, and you can do, and all kinds of things.
We're just not in a position to make those judgments about people. That's what doctors do. And someone says, well, the medicine didn't help. Did you tell your doctor? Maybe he could correct that.
Depressed people don't go to the meetings because other JWs say things to them like, why don't you smile more? Depression and not going to the hall can make someone spiritually ill. It is treatable, not curable. If someone is unsure what to say to a depressed person, just say, it's good to see you and I'm glad you're here. But don't go up to somebody and say, why don't you smile more? That makes their depression feel worse. So, like I say, if you're really unsure of what to say, just tell them, hey, it's good to see you, and I'm glad you're here. Is there anything we can do to help you? You know, be there for somebody.
Are you going to a therapist? I ask that very often. You know, you mentioned that term psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist. And many witnesses cringe. There's a brother in California, he's a psychologist, and he treats only witnesses. He says if there were 3 of me, I could stay busy all the time. That's how many people have problems. He says people still come up to me and ask me if I ever got a real job. You still do that psychology thing? He just went to school for 8 years, so he's going to wash windows. I have a real problem trying to understand what our problem is with all of this. See, and again, it's not a spiritual problem. And I'm going to tell you why I know that. And not just personal, in my own personal experience. See, there are people who are diabetics who are not spiritual people. It has nothing to do with their illness. There are people who are depressed and mentally ill who are not spiritual people. It has nothing to do with their illness. By telling them to study more is not going to make them better. Will not alleviate their depression. They might cope better if they could keep up the spiritual. But depression can cause spiritual problems because of the inability to study and focus, maybe even the inability to come to the Kingdom Hall. Because sometimes, you know, when people come to the Kingdom Hall, what happens? People come up to them and say, what's your problem? One sister said, they always said, why don't you smile more? Well, I'll tell you what, the pain is incredible. I had a headache once. They diagnosed as cluster headaches. It lasted me 6 weeks. And like migraine headaches, 24 hours a day for 6 weeks. Emotional pain is worse than that. So someone comes to the Kingdom Hall super depressed, that's the kind of pain they're in. And we say, why don't you smile? And we say that because we're uncomfortable. People are sick. They have a treatable illness, not a curable one. And they need support. I had a friend in Vermont, when I first visited her congregation, they assumed that all of the sisters in this congregation with 105 publishers had been sexually abused. They just assumed that because they had no reason to believe anything different. And this sister had been horribly abused, and she was pioneering when I visited. And the elders there were giving her a lot of support and helping.
At this point, I am shocked because I just heard him say that all the sisters in this hall had been sexually abused. Oh my God. He said that there was no reason to think any different. So he must know something about the situation there that would lead him to believe that he thought all of the sisters there had been sexually abused. Something was going on. But evidently they're not telling the people in the congregation. He didn't even say anything to them. He didn't want to say anything on the video really either. But to have all of the sisters in a congregation had been sexually abused, that they showed signs of it, that is something really wrong going on there. They need to run. Get the heck out of that organization and that congregation and go get some help. Get the heck out of there. Something bad going on there. If all the sisters had been sexually assaulted, they need to get out of there. And I noticed that when he was saying that, he slipped a little bit and he said, he almost says girl instead of sisters if you listen to it. And I'm thinking that he meant all the girls in the congregation, but just said sisters so it didn't sound so bad. But either way, it's terrible. But, you know, it's just that little more of the covering up thing. But I wanted to show you as we went through here that the publications and the magazines and stuff will tell people. Yeah, my cat, she's being really This is Lola. This is Lola. Yeah, she's Lucky's mommy. Isn't she pretty? Yeah, she's pretty. She's just a cutie pie. But I wanted to show you that the publications and the magazines will tell people that it needs to be done this way, this way, this way. But in the videos, instruction videos that Watchtower sends the elders, they tell the elders to do it a completely different way. So these elders are doing what Watchtower says and screwing it all up. Shouldn't the videos from Watchtower be instructing the elders to do it like the publications and the magazine says it should be done? But it's not. Watchtower is purposely writing in the publications that Jehovah's Witnesses do it this way, but then they send out videos 180 from that to the elders and teach them to do it a different way. That's a big red flag, people. A big red flag. If you're feeling depressed or suicidal, don't worry about what the elders or the organization has to say about whatever you choose to do. If you want to get a counselor outside the organization, go do it. If you need a doctor to take care of what's going on inside you and you need some medication, go do it. There's no reason that you go get counseling or go to the doctor and get medication. There's no reason that you need to go to the elders and ask them first, or even let them know you did it. Just do it. Take care of yourself. Don't let them manipulate you into just sitting in a room alone with 2 or 3 elders and having untrained people tell you what to do. That's no good. They're not trained to do it, and they can get in a lot of trouble for counseling people and not being a counselor. A lot of trouble. Somebody could sue them for counseling them when they're not a certified counselor. In most states in the United States, that's true. It's like being practicing medicine without being a doctor. Same thing. So, if you feel like you need counseling or you need medical care or whatever, go do it. If they think that you're bad for doing that, or they say there's something wrong with you doing that, don't believe them. Walk away, because you are important. You take care of you. And don't let them tell you whether you should or not. That's up to you. It's up to you to take care of you. I just had to let you know, it's a hard thing to leave a fantasy-like life in the organization and go out into a world that you don't hardly know anything about, where you don't have any friends. All your friends turn their back on you, remember? The organization told them don't talk to you anymore, and so they don't, and so you have nobody. You go out there and make some new friends. Go to the doctor, get a checkup, sleep in on Saturday morning, treat yourself, go buy yourself a new shirt or a pair of new shoes. You deserve that. And relax. And don't worry about what they say. And if they come knocking on your door after you leave, don't answer your door. Don't answer the phone. Because they're going to tell you to do something, or they're going to accuse you of doing something you didn't do. They're disfellowshipping 60 and 70-year-old people. And these elderly people are left with no family to take care of them. How biblically Christ-like is that? I'll talk to you later. You all have a good day. And please remember, if you need the help, just go get it. God will not be mad if you take care of yourself and you get the help that you need. If you're not getting it from the organization, then you go somewhere and get it. And don't worry about what they say. Because if they don't like you going to get help, they're wrong. You guys have a good night. Hope you liked my video. I tried my best. Talk to you later. Bye.
Who died made us doctor. But none of us as doctors, let's don't tell people not to go to therapists and doctors. It's none of our business. It's not up to us. But don't tell people not to take medication. Let's don't prescribe things. It's just not our business. That's not our profession. Let's don't stop people from pursuing what they need to do. And as the society pointed out, some may need the help of a professional, mental health professional, and that's what they train to do, help people do that. It's not our problem. Our situation is to support people and help them. And it can make a big difference. I was talking to a sister once. I was very surprised. I didn't know if he'd ever erased the mindset. And she was doing real good. She was suicidal when I visited before. I said, what helped? She says, some of the friends came up and apologized to me later when they found out that they had misjudged me. They just looked at this person feeling that they were weak because they had emotional problems. And she said, that really encouraged me. I really felt good. Now, one last word of caution. If you don't agree with what we're talking about, I can live with that. If you feel, even despite what the society has put in many, many articles about depression and mental illness, and you're thinking, I don't care what anybody says, if they just do this and do that, they would be better. I would recommend that you never talk to a depressed person. That doesn't cost you anything, because you can do such terrible damage to them with that attitude. See, and I mean it. It's very serious business. If you can't be understanding, compassionate, you can't agree, just don't mess with them. Leave them alone. They can live with that. They can't live with your condemnation. One sister told me as she listened to a talk one night, she's getting therapy and very vulnerable. One of the sisters giving a talk said, all we need is the Bible. We don't need psychiatrists and psychologists. And she was devastated. If I were the school overseer, I would have corrected that night, out loud, because that is not the society's viewpoint. They're mental health experts. They see a need for them at times. And that kind of statement is very, very painful, particularly like in my circuit in Vermont, where probably 10 people in every congregation went to therapists. So that's not up to us to make those judgments. Now, on the other hand, for those who suffer from depression, you should understand one thing. We're not talking about a cure. Like I said, did it come tonight? I wasn't going to tell you how some wonder cure. I have no idea. Other than what the society has said, and maybe what your doctor has helped you with, and so forth. But see, someday, all reasons for depression will go away. And I think more importantly, because many of our problems are environmental, and they have to do with our upbringing and our raising, that Jehovah's going to do something for us that we just can't do. People have used energy to repress and suppress feelings, and they've come out in other ways on us. But he's going to do something, the right, the pure, the only way. And this is the positive note we are going to end on. Okay? Isaiah 65 and verse 17. Isaiah 65 verse 17, it says, for here I am creating new heavens and a new earth, and the former things will not be called to mind, neither will they come up into the heart. So someday it's all gone. All the painful things that have happened to us, we won't have to suppress, repress. They will be erased, never to be dealt with again. Only Jehovah can do that for us. So whatever you've got to do now, fine, you take care of your health. Always remember that. That's ultimately going to be the cure. There's no cure in this world, but Jehovah holds the key. Let's hang on to our focus. Let's help each other. Let's strengthen one another. And all of us appreciate we are not alone. But Jehovah's with us. Okay? Now that I've got you all cheered up. We really enjoyed the week. And the sun is shining. Anytime the sun shines, I feel good.